Tired of jumping through hoops to buy Bitcoin? Frustrated with endless paperwork and invasive identity checks? Introducing Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club's loan program. No KYC required. Say goodbye to the hassle and hello to freedom. Borrow up to $250,000 at as little as 7% interest. Join our community and take control of your financial future. Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, where privacy meets opportunity. Connect with like-minded individuals and grow together. Visit us today and unlock your $250,000 Bitcoin loan. Your journey to financial freedom starts here.
And we are live. Good morning, everybody. It's your favorite truck driver in the whole wide world, Bitcoin Ben, here with Jay Bose.
Good morning,
wait. Dr. Jay Bose.
Oh, thank you, sir.
He is a doctor. He isn't a health doctor.
Nope.
He is a expert of all kinds of other shit doctor.
Other shit doctor.
There you go. That's actually the type of doctor you want, because the other doctors,
They don't have good bedside manner.
No,
I do.
No. Exactly. Plus, they actually don't help you make money.
Correct.
They usually take all of your money.
Correct.
And they don't really heal you more than medicate you.
They never want to heal you.
Exactly.
We want to make you money.
Exactly.
We're the doctor of money.
All right. What we are going to talk about today is actually two separate things, but they're not really as separate as you think they are. Because this whole network, what we're growing, what the industry is evolving into, and once I actually break this here down, it's going to blow your mind. Because let me give you a little bit of history. In 1860, we had 7,000 different currencies in America.
No kidding.
Yep. We had 7,000 completely separate private currencies. There were corporate currencies. There were private bank currencies. There was a New York currency. There was a New Jersey currency. There was a Virginia currency.
And stores had their own currency?
Yes,
Yep.
yes. That time was actually known as the free banking era, which if you had reserves, you could issue your own coin actually based on your reserves.
Stable coins.
It oddly sounds familiar, doesn't it? See, this is where we are going to, guys. And this is what Jay and I are actually going to walk you through and really explain. Let's actually put up this one here. All right, Jay?
Yes.
Come on over.
All right. What do you got here, Doctor?
Yeah. Doctor of Love.
Doctor of Love, what do you got here?
All right. Here, I'm just going to walk you through this route and explain it inch by inch, because once you figure out how granular that this is, but yet how this is going to change the profit structure of Walmart, of Costco, of Walgreens, of every grocery store, Chevy and Ford and Tesla.
That's all the small guys.
Yeah, all of the small people. All right, let me walk you through this real quick. We already know Walmart is going to issue their own stable coin. So they'll have a representation of the US dollar, and they'll have their own wallet in their app. All right. But what they haven't announced yet is they will have a rewards token. And that rewards token will have a fluctuating value on open exchanges, because they're actually going to build it on Ethereum. Any ERC 20 token out there is exchangeable. That's why it's on Ethereum, because that's your actual base network is Ethereum. They launch their coin, you exchange it on the Ethereum blockchain. And so Walmart will have its own rewards token. I'm assuming they'll call it Wally coin. Hell, it makes sense. All right. Now, Costco is Walmart's largest competition because remember, Walmart owns Sam's. So Wally coin, or who knows, maybe they call it Sam. You know, hey, could you send me some Sam?
Correct.
And so then what does that do? If you have a Wally coin that fluctuates in value and you have Costco coin that fluctuates in value, and what actually gives it value is the reputation and assets of Costco.
So what you're saying is Costco's balance sheet is actually backing up that coin.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. You have that area priced in, but you also have future gains. What this basically does is it creates a separate, I guess you'd call it a coin market, because you can actually go on the New York exchange and you can actually purchase shares of Costco.
Correct.
All right. That's one representation of ownership. These are not representations of ownership. These are representations of value. Two completely different.
So if I understand this right, and because our audience is going to want to know this, so the rewards is tied to coins that have value. And these valuable coins can be exchanged either for products and goods and services at the store, or they can be potentially used at a different store, and the different store can attribute a different value to the what you're trading in.
Yes, so at Costco, every single month you pay an actual membership fee.
Right.
Well, what's going to happen is when you actually pay your membership fee and say it's $49.99 every month, you'll receive in your wallet $49.99 worth of Costco coin. And that's their reward program coin. Mm-hmm. Now, what this allows is, and this is what's going to blow everyone's mind. All right, let's say you have 1,000 of their coins, and they say, hey, you have an option where if you want, you can redeem those for our stable coin that you can then shop regularly with. Or you can lock this up and earn interest. We'll actually give you 4% of interest on your coins. Now, this is set right here. This is actually set in competition with other investment options. So Costco is now in savings competition with every single bank in the world. That's what U.S. Bank, JP Morgan, and everyone's freaking out about, you can't let them earn interest using the stable coin. Mind you, they have no problem with that. Now we're not going to pay interest on the stable coin. We're going to pay it on our rewards coin,
So
which makes it legal.
So this is really interesting. So for $49 that I'm investing into my membership,
Yes.
I'm getting a certain number of credits, reward credits for that. I have the choice of taking those reward credits and converting them to a stable coin so I can buy the goods and services that I want, or I can keep that in the company and earn 4%.
Yes.
Now I've got a forced savings of $49 every single month,
Exactly.
$50 a month. At the end of the year, I already got $600 plus the interest. It's just sitting there.
Absolutely.
And still it allows me to shop like I normally do.
Yes. And if you play that out a little bit, let's say you have 1,000 coins in there and you're earning 4%. What? Now, this is another thing that's going to pop people's minds. What the airlines are going to do is they're going to replace their reward miles with this exact same structure.
Correct.
Now, why would they do that? Why would Costco issue these coins and offer 4%? Because what they can do is now they can actually claim all of these coins held in reserve as an asset, because they have actually followed the law. And now, because remember, value is an illusion. There's a lot of people holding $1,000 worth of these coins in a hodl area of their wallet, and they're accumulating 4%. And every time that they shop at Costco, 1%, remember, this whole system, it gets rid of the credit cards. So they just saved 3% off the top.
In addition to the 26% the credit cards charge.
Exactly. So Costco saves 3%. Well, there's a structure is already created where that 3%, they've never had it. They never put it in their books. They don't really give a shit about it. So that 3%, bingo, can now be shifted from Visa and MasterCard into their token, which they pay 4%. Well, where do they get the other capital to actually pay that 4%? Because this will have an open market price, and they can, because in this situation they are the market maker.
Correct.
Right? So they can adjust the flows and all of that, where they can raise or lower that value anytime they really want to.
But there are two other places where actually they can more than make up that difference. One is they actually have received the capital already, so their balance sheet is stronger, which means their stock is going up.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's already
Yes.
made millions, multiples of millions.
Right. Plus, what they're going to do is that Costco will eventually hold Bitcoin on their balance. And that actual asset of the Bitcoin, as price of it actually goes up, they can print more of these
Correct.
as that value goes up. because it actually gives them a higher, I think it's called NAV.
Net asset value?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So net asset value goes up.
Correct.
As the value of the actual Bitcoin goes up. They can also claim that with their shares.
Absolutely. In fact, as you know, most companies, they go to the public markets or even private markets to raise capital for their own expansion, to pay down debt, et cetera, which is, there's a carrying cost to debt, right? So every company has debt. What essentially is happening here is you're raising capital directly from the millions and millions of members that you already have. As Ben always says, your net worth? Yeah.
Your net worth is your net worth.
Now think about the net worth these two guys have. I mean, I would wager that between Costco and Walmart, you've got pretty much, at least in the United States, most of the Visa and MasterCard holders.
Yeah, absolutely. And exactly like you were explaining, what this means is, remember, this is all adjustable. So if they actually want to raise more capital, they offer a higher rate. And that rate right there, they could use that capital that they raise as their own loan. So this switches Costco into its own Federal Reserve, because they can print their own money. That's what happened in the 1841 till 1860-ish. And that's what,
just to understand this, so what you're really saying is, when you say they can print their own money, right now for the $49.99 or whatever the monthly is, they issue 1,000, but they could easily issue 2,000.
Yeah.
If they decided.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they just printed their own money.
Yes. This is what everyone hasn't even calculated yet. No one said, I haven't said this for years because we weren't close enough where people could really wrap their heads around it yet. But this is what I saw coming years ago, because I know exactly what Trump is doing because of a speech he actually gave early in his first term when he talked about Andrew Jackson. What he said was, Andrew Jackson's one of my favorite presidents, and in the Oval Office, right by his desk, was a statue of Andrew Jackson, and he kept talking about Andrew Jackson, and I knew Andrew Jackson's history, but what Trump had said in this speech was, what we need is exactly what Andrew Jackson created with the banks. And as soon as he said that, I'm like, aha, I see where you're going. What he's actually doing, this is why he's at war with the Federal Reserve. Because he knows now that they have the genius bill, the Federal Reserve's done. Mm-hmm. They are absolutely done. He just has to work them out of the system and roll all of the relative areas of the Federal Reserve into the Treasury. And because in the Genius Act, it says if you want to issue $1 pegged to the dollar coin, you have to actually buy U.S. Treasury bonds at 0%. So what does that mean? That means our Treasury, our government, can actually issue debt at 0%. So they can.
The Japanese did.
Exactly. Everyone will go Japanese.
Yeah.
All right. Because once a government can issue, because they're not really issuing, well, they are, but they're not. They're not really issuing actual debt, because if there's no interest payment, all you are doing is you are exchanging the Federal Reserve, which charged us interest, with a 0% treasury bond. So all this is creating the money out of the treasury, but using decentralized distribution networks like Costco, like Bank of America, like our bank.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. But before we go there, talk to me about this thing that you have here called arbitrage. How does the arbitrage work? What is the arb between Walmart and Costco? Walk me through that, Ben.
Yes, this is another level. We're going to, if anyone knows anyone who is a serious trader, they will trade dog shit if it has value. Absolutely. They don't care what the asset is. If there's a market, they'll trade it.
Yep.
So now you have Costco coin and you have Wally coin. And these two are in competition with each other. These two can or will actually compete with each other, using each other's coins as advertising, marketing, bringing in revenue, because Wally coin, all of a sudden, here they come out and say, look, we accept Wally coin.
Mm-hmm.
For the next week, we accept Wally coin. And if you send us 4 Wally coins, we'll give you 5 of our coins. Well, what that is you've just arbitraged, or they've just arbitraged Walmart's coin, and in a way instantly dropped its value.
Correct.
But yet raised their value.
Isn't competition a beautiful thing? The free
Yes.
market economy is alive and well. If this thing starts to happen,
It will.
what you're basically saying is, let's say I am Costco and I have excess inventory of beef sitting there, which is going to, go bad in a week or in 4 days or whatever it is. I need to move it. My loss over there will be higher if I don't move it. I can do exactly what Ben said. I can go and say, hey, Walmart shoppers, come and buy 20% more worth of beef at my store because your 4 Wally coins are worth 5 Costco coins, right?
Yep.
And so now you suddenly have all of these people coming in and saying, hey, I can get it here. Costco moved their beef. So it gives you another instrument in the tool chest to actually run a more efficient economic model for the company, because you're not relying only on paid advertising, which you're giving to Facebook or to someone else to say, oh, I got a 20% discount. This is far more real, because you're saying, hey, just bring your wallet over, buy whatever you need, buy 20% more from me. That's compelling.
Yeah, and this whole system, exactly like you said, this is based on complete competition of performance and products, because Costco and Walmart have a lot of the same products. So this actually puts them even more in competition because all of this is also over here. So you have 1,000 Wally coins and we're going to pay you 4%. Well, Costco says, well, I'll tell you what, if you have 1,000 coins or more of Wally coin, each of these are actually built on Ethereum. So they're tradable, which means they have a contract address in a smart contract. So they say, all right, if you bring us 1,000 Wally coins, we'll issue you 1,100 of our Costco coin if you agree to lock it up for 1 month.
It sure does. But you know what else it does? I was just thinking as you were explaining this, something really big. It's called cream skimming. So let's say Costco says, you're Walmart shoppers, and Walmart has 1 million people, but only 100,000 of them have more than 5,000 Wally coins, right? Those are the high value customers. Most of your profit comes from the high value customers, the guys who are just throwing their stuff into the shopping cart, not worrying about the cost, right? Those are the ones I want. So I say, hey, if you got 5,000 or more, you come in here, I'm going to give you 6%. But if you have less than that, I don't. So you can actually cream skim off so you can not only cream skim off their money by selling your stuff, you can actually cream skim off their best customers by offering rewards, which are disproportionately good because you're playing the long game.
Now, let's go to the next level. I love this shit. All right, let's say Walmart is really just kicking Costco's ass. Costco could short Walmart coin
By giving 30 coins for 20.
On an open exchange. Sure. Because when you short
the stock, short their stock.
No, their coin. Because it's exactly like a stock.
Yep.
What they can actually do is they can actually find someone or secretly accumulate a large number of these through these programs. And what Costco can do is actually push the value of Wally coin down on weighted markets. That's exactly what market makers do. And so Costco could short Walmart's coin, drop its value, and then at the same time offer this exchange and just drag a shitload over it as it pushes up that price. Costco's actually capturing all of the gains of the price appreciation.
Look, and for those of you who are careful, for those of you who are thinking, hey, isn't this market manipulation, right? I mean, I can already see some of you guys sitting there thinking, okay, this is a free market. It's not a regulated market. Is this an unregulated market manipulation? The answer is no. I'll tell you why. 10 years ago, when the media purchasing, so when you bought ad units, you bought it at different exchanges, right? If you wanted to put your little ad in CNN, you could buy, so much CPM, cost per 1,000 impressions was $34. And you could buy it on a different exchange for $33. I knew a bunch of traders all day long. All they did was arb the cost of the same number of impressions on two different exchanges, right? That is still happening today, right? Because it's an unregulated market within which different market makers, like these guys, now, of course, there'll come a time, Ben, when these things start to push the banks around, right? Because the volume over here is going to pick up where the value of these Costco coins or Wally coins will start exceeding the market cap of the companies
Yes.
because the world will move to that digital coin.
Now,
Once that here, this is your eraser.
No, no.
you already erased it. Okay,
All right.
Gotcha.
yes. Walmart and Costco, yes. Now, here's the big play. What happens when this is now Facebook?
Right.
And this is TikTok. Now, they have over a billion. I think it's actually like 2 or 3 billion people on. The moment they launch a stable coin, which they tried, remember, they tried doing that, and the federal government's like, fuck you, no way. Because as soon as they do, they're the largest bank in the world. Instantly.
Correct.
Why do you think Apple, Facebook have so much cash sitting there? They know that they're not actually keeping up with inflation. Why are they holding that much? Because remember, it's not cash, it's treasury bonds.
You got to move it to Bitcoin.
No, those treasury bonds, they can now represent as a stable coin. Instant liquidity, and that's their new profit. Is the Facebook will kick Amazon's ass with this.
And your liquidity is at a ratio of 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1.
Yep.
You know, I mean, if you're holding, say, $10 billion in treasury, you could probably issue 20 billion or more.
Exactly.
In stable coins.
So, and as soon as they do that, they'll launch a rewards token just like Costco and Walmart. And that rewards token, I think Facebook is also using Ethereum. I know Apple is. And then all of a sudden, hey, you're actually getting paid in reward tokens for your screen time.
So right now, what you're saying is that this is, there we go. What you're saying is that this is all ERC20, right? That's what you're saying. So ERC20.
Yep.
That's your communication network to actually swap things around. But soon you're going to have what we call the cross-chain bridges also.
Yeah.
Cross-chain bridge.
Originally called atomic swaps.
Atomic swaps.
Old
way
days.
back. Yeah. And so what you're going to have is actually interaction with, you could even do interactions with fiat if you so desire.
Absolutely. Because everything will actually be tokenized. What you can do, because initially it's exactly what Trump is actually doing with his world financial coin.
Yes.
That they just launched. They launched it on Ethereum. They'll also launch it on Solana. They'll also launch it on friggin' Cardano. And these cross-chain exchanges will be so simple.
Yep.
Easy peasy, because all you need is a translator with an address on the other chain. And Facebook, TikTok, X, remember what Elon said. His goal is to make X an all-in-one app.
Yes.
Think a lot of people haven't rolled this out yet. When he says all in one, everyone's like, oh, man, he'll offer Bitcoin. He'll have an X token. He'll have, no, guys. Elon's not a small guy.
He's a big thinker.
Motherfucker's going to Mars, all right? This guy don't think small. When he says all in one app, you might as well say everything Elon's involved with on one app. Tesla, robotaxi, robots, X, fucking going to Mars or shipping shit out into the universe. When he says all in one, he doesn't just mean all in one for shit you already kind of can do on X. No, he's saying all of these other apps are going to waterfall into X. So then he has a monopoly of human experience. What do? We save money. We exchange money. We drive.
You got diners.
Yeah, he opened a diner. It's a Tesla diner.
Yeah.
This
Food.
He's not playing to win. Whenever Elon is done, we're gonna rename Mars Elonville, because that's how large he's thinking. Everyone else is, and now with all of this, implement AI. How quickly does all of this move?
Exponentially.
Exponential, which means efficiency, which means higher value. Because as soon as you can sell your car and swap cash on the app from your wallet to whoever you found a car on Facebook Shop or whatever the fuck it's called.
And the registration got automatically changed. All of that got changed.
Yeah.
Because it's on blockchain.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you can prove ownership and exchange because you actually paid through Facebook, which is now linked and recorded on the token of Facebook, which settles on Ethereum. Mm-hmm. So you have a chain of ownership on the Facebook chain, which is linked with the Ethereum chain. Mm-hmm. And so now you have proof. Hey, I paid you, motherfucker. No, you gave me cash, man. I don't know what. All right. No, I didn't get no money. Bullshit. I paid you on Facebook.
Yeah.
And then that actually puts TikTok in some deep shit, because now what Facebook can do, and this applies on YouTube, this applies on Rumble, is now Facebook can actually pay their content creators with their own fucking currency. This makes Facebook the new Fed.
Right. And these are all mini Feds, right? So is it fair to say, Ben, that now we are actually living in a completely decentralized multi-currency environment,
Yeah.
which can actually swap and trade with each other because you have these bridges and exchanges through which you can do it.
Yep.
And the value is shifting based on, there you go.
And all of what I just erased flows into here.
Because that is
Because
the settlement layer. That's the base value preservation.
exactly, because TikTok and Facebook, they have people they owe money to. Mm-hmm. Walmart has a supply chain. Costco has a supply chain. All over the world, Walmart, they get their products from everywhere. So does Costco. Well, look what's going on with the U.S. currency globally. It's losing purchasing power globally because usage and our treasury bonds are actually being sold off because everyone knows. And if you watched our long-term treasury bonds are absolute garbage.
Yeah, but I mean, it's right across the board. Look at Spain. Look at UK that went up to what? Over 5.5%.
Yeah.
Just to try to get to move this thing, right?
Yeah.
It's never gone beyond 3% before. So Spain, UK, France, Germany, I mean, you're literally looking at country by country, all of their T-bills. They have to keep pushing the rates higher to try to sell it. They can't sell it.
Yes.
And we're buying our own stuff. I mean, that's
that's what they're, because once you look into the weeds of who's actually buying these, including America and all, we're all buying our own shit. We're smoking our own dope.
It makes no sense.
Well, no, it does. If
I mean, you want to keep the illusion alive.
Yes. But now that Trump and his whole family, they just announced yesterday, and I literally said this probably 9 months ago. I heard from a friend who's relatively close to the Trumps and works at one of their hotels up in New York that the Trump organization has actually been rolling the organization's profits into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Consecutively.
I mean, Eric Trump's out at Bitcoin Asia right now.
Yep.
And he's been spilling the beans about, how much investment they're making into Bitcoin mining. He actually said something very interesting. They're mining at about $38,000 a coin right now. He publicly announced that, which is amazing because, we are into mining as well, but not at that scale. So our coins are costing us somewhere between $43,000 and $48,000. But still, I mean, it's $110,000.
Well,
so that's
they're also putting in $500 million, $1 billion.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I want $1 billion worth of miners. Can you cut me some slack?
Yeah, there.
Yeah,
we'll get there.
And it's all of this, everything I've just explained. Then I want to roll over here and have you walk us through
this is a great segue point, right? I mean, now we've got all of these different. Where am I? Can you switch to this board, Zolta?
Yeah.
Thank you. So here's what we're gonna do, Ben. We're gonna just call this our private key capital. Okay. So come on in closer, Ben, so that we can see you. Where are you? There you are. Okay, good. So guys, what we're gonna do right now is walk you through what we are doing as a company. Like Ben just told you about the big picture, right? Of how Walmart and Costco are going to issue their own stable coins, their own reward systems. But we're already halfway there. We're front running it, right? We're not waiting for them to do it. We are implementing this. So as you know, Ben and our club went and purchased this credit union in El Salvador. Many of you already know that. Many have invested into it, but those who don't, we have got a credit union in El Salvador that we own. All right. And we are retooling it. We just didn't buy a credit union to be a credit union in the traditional banking sense. We bought it so that we can leverage the resilience of Bitcoin, issue stable coins to create liquidity, and also have traditional banking functions, but completely in a decentralized manner. So this is the first time in the world that anyone's attempted to do this, to take a credit union and feed the Bitcoin rails, the wallets, into the traditional banking rails and be able to do the same kind of banking functions that you do with traditional banking using Bitcoin. It has not been done before.
Ever.
And we're going to launch this in October. And please go.
Yep.
We're going to launch this in October, and our teams are working around the clock. But I wanted to give you a little bit of the under the engine under the hood experience of what we are doing. Okay, so the very basic layer is called the core infrastructure layer. And what the core infrastructure layer is based on our Bitcoin blockchain. So it's entirely, yes, there's ERC20, but it's basically the core is backed by Bitcoin. That's what Ben is talking about, the settlement. It's a settlement layer. This is where everything is kept secure. We're using the Bitcoin network. We're using the 900 exahashes that it protects us with. That's what our banking is. So it's a secure banking system. But we are putting in cross-chain bridges, right, through the ERC20, which means we can go to fiat, fiat can go to Bitcoin. So when you have an account and you open an account, you can put fiat in. You can have $5,000 sitting there in US currency, US dollars. And you can put Bitcoin into your wallet associated with your account in which you're holding native Bitcoin. That Bitcoin is making yields for you. That Bitcoin is going up in value. When you put $100, 5 years later, it's still $100. But when you put Bitcoin, it has gone up in value, right? So it's allowing you to keep that savings in an appreciating asset directly inside your wallet. It's and the important thing we're building out is something called decentralized custody. This is really important, folks. No one has done this. Normally, when you put money into a bank account, that money doesn't sit in your separate little account. It actually goes into a treasury. It goes into one big account, which the bank holds, okay? And that's the pool. That's the big pool. And when you want to draw money, they put a little bit into your wallet, just like a dad keeps the money and then gives the kids $5. So that's what's happening. But except in our case, we actually don't have a centralized treasury at all. So when you put Bitcoin into our bank, you will have your own wallet, which will be a multi-sig wallet. You'll hold one key, and we will hold one key. Remember that old adage, not your key, not your coin? We made sure that it is your key and it is your coin. So each one of you, when you have your account set up in our credit union, you're going to have your own separate wallet with your own key on it. We will have one master key, you will have the other key. And only when both of us turn the key locks, it opens, right? And why is that important? Because only when we can lock it up, we can actually start to give you yields, right? So we can actually generate, I'm going to get to yields in just a second from there. But let me just go through the second layer. So once you have the core infrastructure, which is everything to do with gateways, which has to do with the regulatory aspects, which has to do with all of the reporting, the credits, the auditing, the security, making everything safe. That's your base underlying engine, okay? So that's what this layer is doing. But right above that layer is what we call the financial instruments. When you deposit into Bitcoin, when you deposit money into your account, we can actually take that as an asset and create stable coins. These will be called private key capital, call it private key capital USDT or Tether or whatever you want to call it. We're going to call it private key capital stable coin, right? So we'll have to come up with a good name for it. You're good on those names, but it'll be some version of PKCT or something, Tether, right? Something like that. So we're going to create the liquidity ourselves. So we're not always relying on some third-party liquidity partner and having to pay them. Many of you ask, hey, how are you going to pay me my 4% yield? Because we create our own liquidity, we can now lend out that money on the DeFi market. See, as a credit union, we're required to keep only 20% as our asset in the bank. Most US banks are fractional reserve at less than 5%, 4%, 10%. We are at 20% minimum. So 20% of all assets are kept away. The rest will be converted to stable coins, which we can now loan out. We can loan out at 12%. We give you the 4%. We have liquidity partners, other intermediaries that we pay the rest of it, and the profit for the bank owners comes from that. The other thing we'll be doing is we will be creating tokens. any type of a token related to any real world asset. So you all know about wrapped assets, right? Wrapped bitcoins and things of that nature, atomic swap bitcoins. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to take a hotel that we have and create tokens with it. By the way, we've been already doing that for our clubs. Many of you have the Unisat wallet. So this is not something that's new to us. We already know how to do that. We can take a physical asset like our West Palm Club.
Yep.
We can tokenize it and we can issue the tokens. We know how to track it in your wallet, and these tokens are sitting there. This wallet is going to allow you to do that. It'll allow you to keep your tokens here for any of the assets that you have purchased.
Right. And let me just jump in here real quick. This here is larger than you realize because we have partnerships with wonderful people like Texas Slim that we can actually tokenize land, cows,
Equipment, bulldozers,
everything. And what we can actually do is validate that ownership. And then as soon as we have ownership of those assets, that has value now.
Absolutely.
So what this creates here is we actually go up to a rancher and we say, look, we know ranching's hard. All right, we know it's hard. Would you allow us to tokenize your property? And then what that allows them to do is actually get leverage against their property without going to a regular bank that's going to fuck them.
Which totally fleeces them because these regular banks, what's the first question they ask you? What's your credit score? Do you have a W-2? Do you have a pay stub? Well, I'm a rancher. I don't have a W-2. I work at 7 in the morning, 5 in the morning, and I go and milk my cows and I feed, and I work till dawn. I don't have a W-2. So the bankers go, oh, gee, no check mark here. You aren't credit worthy. I'm going to charge you 28% interest rate.
Yep.
And so they get fleeced and they lose their farms. And I've personally met so many of them. It's a heartbreaking story of the American farmer and rancher dying. So, but the point is, tokens can be created to actually save agriculture, to save farming, to save the American lifestyle. So sovereignty, food sovereignty, water sovereignty, land sovereignty. I mean, these are important things. Root back to our Constitution: life, liberty, and the right to property. Right? I mean, those are really basic things that this tokenization of the real world assets allows. And then we have partnerships with guys like Caleb and Brown.
Hang on one second. Along with this, there's a very key link with this. Remember, the federal government just announced that they're actually going to put all of their economic information on a blockchain. That's the first step that the federal government is actually taking into representing uncorruptible information. This, and watch out for HUD or housing
and urban development.
Yeah, watch out for that guy at HUD. Watch what he announces this month with what he's going to initiate for homeowner representation. Mm-hmm. They're going to put it on the blockchain.
And this is, Ben, so, I'm going to call it real world assets.
Yes.
Okay. Now, this is really important.
Oh, hang on.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Go for it.
If you go on Truth Social and you look for a truth from President Trump yesterday or the day before, he wrote on Truth Social September will be an amazing month for RWAs. That's a specific group right there. He didn't say for the stock market. He didn't say for, brand new cars or housing or no. This represents everything I just said. Yeah. Housing, automobiles, land, oil rights. This RWA, get used to hearing it, folks, because it is going to roll out everywhere. And as soon as Trump put that out, that's what showed me what housing and urban development, that's what they're going to do.
Correct. Now, there's a concept over here that you guys need to know. It's called registry. Okay? So what happens when you have a real world asset, let's say you have a business, you're a small businessman, or you have a house, it's registered on your local database, your municipal. When you go to that town, your town courthouse, right? There is a physical record of your asset.
Right. Let's swap out register for ledgered.
Ledger, right? It's exactly the same thing.
Because then you'll get it.
So Bitcoin, is a ledger, right? So once you start to put those records onto the Bitcoin ledger or the blockchain, in this particular case, that ledger, that record of transactions, I own this land, then Ben owned this land, then somebody built a house, then the water and the power was connected, and then it was, whatever. It changed hands twice. All of that is actually registered on that ledger, right? Now your real world asset has been registered on the blockchain governed by a smart contract. Now the problem with the NFTs was NFTs didn't have anything behind it. See, I can create all the smart contracts I want and say, okay, I sold you a token of gold. But if the gold actually didn't move at Perth Gold from one cube to another, which wasn't audited, and there's no real transaction, I've just sold him the Brooklyn Bridge, something I don't own. It's a piece of paper. It makes no difference. How many ways I tell you it's tokenized? Makes no difference. The only time the token actually does something is if the underlying asset from which the token is created is actually moving ownership. So his car, his Cadillac is registered. He sells it to me for $1, right? It doesn't matter. That's the deal between two people. So he sells it to me for $1.
Boy, I'm a dumbass. I just sold him a Cadillac for $1.
It keeps breaking down.
That's hilarious.
I'm spending thousands every month trying to fix the damn thing. I still have the check engine light.
You just put
a sticker on
tape on it. Yeah.
I'll put a black tape on it.
Yeah, there you go.
We're engineers.
Fixed.
So what happens is when he sells that to me and he transfers the token, a message goes back to the blockchain, which says Ben just sold that real world asset token. And in the registry, in the ledger, it changes. So if you go to DMV, the next instant, not 6 months later, the next instant, it'll show that Jay now owns that car with this VIN number, blah, blah, blah. So that's the key that was missing till now. We had all the tokens and all the smart contracts. What we didn't have is that the real world assets being on a ledger. Now, the moment that happens on a blockchain, this thing takes off like you wouldn't believe, because every asset you can possibly think of will get tokenized, will get put on the registry, and the smart contract will link the two of them.
Yes, and like I just said, the federal government is actually putting information on a ledger. Now, the federal government's doing that. Florida will do that. Florida will have its obligation of recording on a ledger. So will Texas. So will Arizona. So will eventually California when they get their heads out of their asses. And what that does And please wrap your head around this. Once this system is built, you no longer need the interpretation of the Constitution, because this actually cements the rights of the state in a blockchain and inside of a blockchain ecosystem. So the federal government, this is what Trump's doing. He's creating a system of record for all the information that the federal government is constitutionally in charge of.
A constitutional blockchain.
Exactly. That means, hypothetically, Trump loses, but yet this system is built.
Codified.
It's codified. Fuck the Democrats, fuck the progressives, fuck everyone. Once you build this system, and the rest of the economy uses this system and Florida's system and Texas system as the record of truth, you're done. Because once it weeds its way into the rest of the infrastructure and ecosystem, you can't rip it out because the whole system's reliant on it. What he's actually doing is replacing the central bank and all of the banking structure. Because remember, all property runs through banking.
100%.
Well, as soon as you decentralize this nationwide crappy banking system, what that does, just like I was explaining at Walmart and Costco, and your wallet is now your decentralized identity, because it removes all of...
And it's your decentralized net worth. It's not just your identity.
Bingo.
It's your net worth.
Bingo. And this means every network you join, if you join Costco, you're accumulating value with Costco as Costco grows their network. It is what the Bitcoin is. The reason we're at 100 and whatever for friggin' thousand right now is because now trillions of dollars of worth is now held in this network. Well, Walmart and Costco, and what is that? What is $2 trillion? That's exchange of value.
Correct.
That's all Walmart and Costco are, except they're physical goods exchanged for a currency.
They're real world assets.
They're real world assets. So now what this does is it actually makes, like we've said for years, fuck the Fed, buy some Bitcoin and be your own bank.
That's it.
That's what Walmart's doing. They are going to be their own bank, because the only reason banks have value is because of the capital held on their reserves and a few assets.
Yeah.
But
they have to pass the liquidity test. Yes.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, do they really?
No, they keep changing the test. The bar keeps getting lower and lower and lower.
Let's remember 2008. How liquid were those
Exactly.
banks?
Too big to fail.
Yeah, we're too big to fuck off.
I know we're running out of time, so I'm just going to quickly complete. Under the financial instruments, what we're also doing is we're building bridges into partners like Caleb and Brown, which is a brokerage firm, right? They already have a series of assets, which we call synthetic assets. They already know how to trade call options, etc., on Bitcoin. So let's say you have Bitcoin sitting there. They could create, you don't have to do it. They could create a call option, which is 20% higher than the market price right now. Sell that option, get you the premium. And if Bitcoin doesn't hit that, let's say he sells a call option at 150, it's a covered call, it doesn't hit it, you keep the premium, and you just generate 8-9% interest. If it hits that option, you sell it off and then buy it back again on the dip because you've already got the money to do it. So that's just one example of many different synthetic assets that can be created out of Bitcoin that generate yield, that generate profits for you. So that's kind of the financial instruments. And the top layer is what I call the banking services layer. And this is where we're doing the basic banking services with Bitcoin. Payments and transfers. Something that you do and take for granted in a bank, right? You do payments, you do transfers. We got lending and borrowing. So right now, many of you go to SALT lending. Well, our bank, our credit union is actually going to be able to lend against the Bitcoin that you have provided. You're going to be able to borrow against the Bitcoin you have provided. That's kind of important, right? And then, of course, you'll have savings accounts. You just want your Bitcoin to sit there and make its 4%. You can have savings accounts. So that's sort of the ecosystem that we're building out. It's a huge, big vision. Ben, this is going to be massive. It's going to be the first in the world to do all of these type of capabilities. And I think it'll be repeated by Wells Fargo and Bank of America in about 5 years. But right now, we're the only game in town that's actually doing this. We have developers working on this. We're paying good money to them to do. And here's the best part, man. We own the intellectual property and the assets.
Yeah.
So we are building our own code. We just didn't go to a third party and say, hey, let's make it easy. We'll white label your stuff and put a little flourish on it and call it our own. We are actually building this stuff from scratch, our own wallet, our own integration into the Bitcoin, into the traditional rails, integrations into Caleb and Brown and other entities that can provide people's reserve, for example, who can provide us liquidity, who can provide us new type of yield generating services. We're plugging into those. So this is something which is built to last, and hopefully this will continue to grow very rapidly.
Oh, absolutely it will. Because once we have this all set up, and once people can really wrap their heads around, and we have pretty little website pages that explain it all very simply. Once everyone watching this looks at this, they're like, why in the fuck am I at Wells Fargo? Why in the hell am I at fucking Bank of America? When you can actually do everything in our app, and with one hit, you can switch your Bitcoin and earn actual Bitcoin. Because remember what I've said, guys, price appreciation's great, but just remember, you're accumulating more dog shit. Because that's what the U.S. currency is going to eventually be, and is already kind of there. We've lost 20-something% in the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. That's going down, folks. So as you look at it, that's great that the price is actually going up of U.S. dollars. You don't want more U.S. dollars. You want more Bitcoin. So our structure here allows you, with our one and only wallet, that you have custody right in the wallet inside of our banking system. No one else offers this. Nobody. And that's the key, is we are giving you an example of the future of banking.
And just on that point, Ben, we did so much research, because even companies like Fireblock, that's a third party that actually keeps part of the key, right? Yep. So they can be compromised. Whereas over here, there's no third party. There's you and there's us, and that's it.
Yep.
That just directly. So, yep. and here's the really, really interesting part about this, which should give you a lot of peace of mind. When you hold a wallet, firstly, it's protected by the Bitcoin blockchain, right? So the security is at the highest level. It's not in any other wallet other than it's actually sitting on the Bitcoin blockchain, not wrap, not swap, not atomic swap, none of that. It's sitting as Bitcoin, right? But here's the best part. Let's say something does happen to the bank. It's in El Salvador. Maybe there's a political turmoil. Maybe the cartel wants to take over. Guess what? It does not impact in any way your hand on that wallet, because the moment any issue happens with the bank will open up. We will open up our private key, which means it'll become a single signature wallet, which is your signature. All of the wallets which are distributed, each holding 1 Bitcoin, 10 Bitcoins, 50 Bitcoins, half a Bitcoin, doesn't matter. All of the accounts will get opened up in the event of some catastrophic event happening, and we will remove our master key, master lock from that, and you can readily move that from your wallet to any other wallet in the world. Meaning, no matter what happens ever to private key capital, not that we expect any issues, but I understand the concerns some might have. Hey, I'm going to put my money in a third world country. No, you're not putting your money in a third world country. You're actually keeping your money on the Bitcoin blockchain.
Yes, and have you seen El Salvador lately?
It's safer than pretty much every city.
I would rather go to El Salvador than Chicago.
Or Houston or New York or LA.
Yeah.
Trust me, guys, I go there almost every week, every other week. I mean, I literally walk out of the airport, I take a taxi. At 1 a.m, last time I didn't want to wake up Salvador, right? Because I knew if I told him I'm coming, he'd show up at 2 a.m. to pick me up, and I didn't want him to do that. So I just took a taxi at 2 a.m. It's as safe as it gets. So we really think that country has a lot of future. It has certainly been, with President Bukele on the forefront of Bitcoin. They have been very supportive of the banking laws. The regulations are coming here. I think Florida is going to become a forward-looking state. But here's a pilot model in the first country in the world that declared Bitcoin as its national currency. And I think we need to be aligned there and create new products, which will then spread to the world. We're spreading that lighthouse.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, have a great day. We love you guys. Everyone have a great Tuesday. I will see you tomorrow. You'll probably see Jay on Thursday. I don't know what his plans are yet, but I may drive you back.
I don't know either. I might be in El Salvador.
Who knows? All right, guys, have a great day. Love you guys, and remember to go out and kick ass.
Tired of jumping through hoops to buy Bitcoin? Frustrated with endless paperwork and invasive identity checks? Introducing Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club's loan program. No KYC required. Say goodbye to the hassle and hello to freedom. Borrow up to $250,000 at as little as 7% interest. Join our community and take control of your financial future. Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, where privacy meets opportunity. Connect with like-minded individuals and grow together. Visit us today and unlock your $250,000 Bitcoin loan. Your journey to financial freedom starts here.